So in the last video, I talked about variables and constants. Let me write that out really quick. Variables and constants. So then I'm just gonna paste that right here and put that right here. Last time we saw that constants are started with the let keyword and variables started with a var keyword. The only difference is that you can change a variable later by adding stuff to it, subtracting from it. You could subtract from 10 and it equals 9. But there are other types of things that you can store besides just numbers. Just wanted to go through some of those. Let's take a look at results. You'll notice I misspelled result, and it gave me a crash error here. Don't worry if you run into that; it's not going to break anything on your computer. Just got to correct your mistake. I just have an S here, just taking that away. But the concept that I was going to talk about was value types, and these are the types of things that we are storing. Up here, we are storing straight up numbers with no decimals, and those are usually represented as integers. So let's say my third number can be whatever name you like, and I'm gonna put, let's say 23. Right now it is an integer, but I could change it if I want to, or I can just be more explicit. If you had a colon and put int at the end, it is definitely an integer. If you wanted to make it, let's say, 2.30, it's going to crash because an integer cannot be a decimal. It has a very cryptic message here. Specifically, there's a longer version of a decimal called a double, and I'll go through that in more detail here in a second. But you can't store an int as decimal. So let's see. Just to show you another example here, we got my fourth number equal colon float 2.30, and that works out just fine. Swift up here at the top is guessing what each type is based on what I wrote. So I have whatever name I want equals 1, and it's guessing that it is a integer. And you can see that by hitting the option key, and it has this cool little question mark. Click the name of whatever you made. Do my number, my float, blah blah. You'll notice that I was actually incorrect here, and I was calling it a float, but it's actually stored as a double, which the only difference between the two is that a double can store more numbers. It can store almost double the amount of a float. So let's see. Let's say I wanted to actually make this a float. Why would I want to do that? If I was trying to be store as little as possible inside the computer to free up space for other and more important things, then I could explicitly make it a float. And I'm sorry to throw that complexity at you between the float and double, but you'll see these terms quite often. And the only difference is that a float stores less values after the decimal, and a double stores many values after the decimal. Almost double. And let's see. We've been storing numbers, but there are other types. Let's do my fifth number. I'll do this as a double just so you can see what that looks like. Same thing there. And this one I want to make as a sentence. This is my sentence. This is stored in Swift as a string, and we could see that if I zoom in here, hit the Option key, click that, and it's stored as a string. And that is just storing a sequence of letters. And my sequence of letters starts with a T, second one's H, third one's I, S, space, I, S. And yeah, that's what's stored in there. And you're able to do the same thing that you can do with numbers, in the sense that you can add stuff to it, just like we did up here. Well, now it's subtracting, but we can add stuff to it. Let's take a look. So we'll say result 2 equals, I'll do a little maybe period. Let's do my string plus period. So now we can already see the result over here. So now result 2 is storing this sentence with a little period at the end. And you could see that, or I could prove it to you because you don't believe me. Result 2 prints it out again right here. And that is what a string, float, double, float, and integer are. That's what we'll start with. And I'll dive into some more value types as we go along. But these are the bread and butter, the more important types. Yeah, and I'll discuss more in the next video. Thanks.